The Lance Wallnau Show is coming at you live from the Master himself, with a special broadcast taken from one of Lance's most recent appearances. Tune in and get ready for some major revelation.
Hell wants to plant people. Have you ever looked at the parable of the tares and the wheat? It's the end-time parable. This is really important. It's the parable of the sheep and the goats, the tares and the wheat. Hey, vey. These things are powerful. Most people, because everybody's all rapture fixated, they're missing the actual juice of what Jesus is saying. By the way, you got to get this book. All the predictions are in this book. What's happening now is in this book. Where we're going next is right here. Catch this. Take a look at Matthew 25. You have a Bible? I got on everybody last night for not bringing Bibles. If you got a Bible, say, I got a Bible. You see this verse here? Look at this. Why don't you see this? Going in here, and then I'm almost done. Do you know that it was a remnant that got your governor elected? Your governor was only elected by 30,000 votes. You guys forget this. I'm not trying to speak evil of people, but NBC News on June 22nd recorded that Andrew Gillum, the guy that he was running against, who almost became your governor during COVID, during the crisis of crises, that would have been a lockdown and shutdown, funded by Soros. The guy has 21 counts of federal investigations and indictments coming against him for financial shenanigans while he was in politics. 21 indictments are coming at him. And that was after he ended up in March of 2020 in a sex scandal involving a male with an overdose. And this came from NBC News, broke the story, with an overdose because he was unfortunately needing rehab and needing help and intervention with alcoholism. This was the guy that was almost the governor of Florida. Only 30,000 believers who voted, who actually shook themselves out of the church mountain long enough to take an interest, put into office the person that has created the economic and spiritual renaissance that is the state of Florida. Well, I pray for everybody. I'm not against anybody, but I'm telling you, the fact that Rush Limbaugh did an interview with him, and Rush Limbaugh put DeSantis on, and DeSantis did a 10-minute interview with Rush. That was the 30,000 that did it. It was media, when God did it, working for a remnant of Christians. The church and media put DeSantis in office. But I want you to go here for a second. You got to see this. This is very important. I just feel like I got an open heaven right now. I don't want to lose it. Matthew 13. I talked about tares and wheat. We have to look at the top of each of these mountains as a gate of influence. A gate of influence. Jesus said, I'm going to build my church and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. You've got to get our people in the gates. We need to get behind gatekeepers in business, gatekeepers in arts, gatekeepers in media. We have to think not about ourselves, but about each other. We got to say, who has leverage? I so love meeting the pastors that I met tonight. Where's the pastor that I met? Here you are, right there. And your church's name again? Destiny Church. Do we have other pastors that are here tonight? Now put your hand up if you're a pastor of a church. Thank you. Thank you. Just stand up for a second. This is very unusual, people. Thank God for the pastors. These are remnant. These are remnant pastors, but they could turn the battle at the gate. They're the secret sauce. Yes. All right, so Jesus says, he teaches on tares and wheat, the last days parable. And right now, what we're having is this tremendous conflict because tares and wheat are kind of running into each other all over the country. And when the crowd left, the disciples said to Jesus in Matthew 13, verse 37, can you explain to us what in the world you're teaching? We don't understand this tares and wheat. And it's so great, Jesus will explain to them in private. He says, the one who sows the good seed in the field is the Son of Man. As for the good seed, these are the sons of the kingdom. Catch this. Jesus sows people into the kingdom. Most people miss this. Let me read it again. The field is the world. The field is the world. So I'm going out into all the world. I'm going out into the world. The world of Florida. It's Florida world we're in right now. Jesus says here that the good seed The good seed are the sons of the kingdom, and the tares are the sons of the evil one. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil, and the harvest is the end of the age. I want you to catch something. The sons of the devil, they get planted too. During when? During the time of the harvest of souls and nations, Satan plants people in strategic proximity to gates of influence. You got to catch this. This parable says God plants people. Satan plants people. He plants his people in order to dethrone the influence of God's people. And the gates of influence, which is the top of those 7 mind molders of culture, is particularly where you got to go. The New York Times got taken over by Satan planting people. Harvard, Princeton, Yale got taken over by Satan planting people. Our political apparatus, the deep state, you know what the deep state is? We now understand what the deep state is. It's not some kind of a weird, kind of cultic term. It actually refers to 3 million government employees who run 3-letter agencies that outlast any president, congressman, or senator. They're the permanent administrative state bureaucracy of the FBI and the CDC and the IRS and the EPA and the CIA. And it's all the 3-letter agencies, 3 to 4 million of them, managed by only about 6,000 political appointments who they put onto the position of managing them. What Trump now knows is if we really want to drain the swamp, all hell's going to break loose in theft to try to steal this next election, in violence. They got 200 street groups. New York Times already bragged about how they called off 200 riots when the election would look like the conservatives were going to cave in and give it to Biden anyway. Otherwise, they were going to have riots all over the country. Molly Bell wrote the article in the New York Times, 10-page article. Most of us don't talk about this stuff. We're like dumb. The enemy's right in your face. It's not even, that's why I say forget the Q and conspiracies. You don't need a conspiracy interpreter. Just listen to my podcast. It's in your face. It's right in your face. Well, who are they? They're there in front of you. Just take a look at them. Do a selfie with them. But we need to get that anointing on behind all of the key races and elections that are going to determine what happens in the future. Now listen to me. This is just me talking. But what we got to do is we have to win so that the investigative power on exposing what's been going on, the gavel can pass to the courageous people that are in government who will expose the beach ball games that have been going on. And they'll expose the manipulation of elections and et cetera. This can happen. Secondly, if we can win the White House with somebody that has the vision to do it, then we now have 3 Supreme Court justices. You have to pray for them. There's been assassination attempts on them. Pray that God preserves them just like God preserves Trump and DeSantis right now. Because those justices are ready to pare down the 4 million administrative state employees, which never were constitutionally authorized to create a 4th branch of government anyway. What you're seeing with the Department of Justice, the DOJ, with the FBI, right now with the NCS, all of that's got to be exposed by courageous congressmen handling the gavel, boom, to expose over the next couple of years. And we got to handle that exposure. And then we have to start to pare down the administrative state by insisting that they give up their power to the constitutional definition of what God really designed for our blessing as a nation. Does that make sense? Most people don't understand the game plan. That's how you do it. Then the 4 million, and they'll scream bloody murder when Trump removes, or whoever's president removes, the first 5,000, the top layer but he's got to, because the Muellers and the Clappers and the Comeys and the Brennans, they are the enemy of the people right now. Unfortunately, remember what I told you. What hell wants to do is the devil plants people. I just showed you that. It's the tares of the wheat. Satan plants people. Where? Where there could be a harvest of righteousness. Satan's already planting his own agent in that gate. It's time that we took seriously advancing the children of light to the gates of influence. I'm looking for Christians that can go there. I'm looking for Christians that can come alongside Cyrus's and put their arm around them and say, let me do this journey with you. You're going to need those evangelicals. I understand them. And in the meantime, you witness, you evangelize, but that person's anointed. Churchill or Lincoln is anointed for the crises. Their personal relationship with Jesus is a bonus, but they've got the gift mix. And believe it or not, the Spirit of the Lord is on certain people. God is so much bigger than us. I remember when I gave this word to Donald Trump. I actually prophesied. I'm one of the only prophets I know that actually prophesied. Ramirez is the only other guy I know that has access to him. That actually we've talked with him and given the word. I gave him the Isaiah 45 word. I said, this is you. It's hard to figure out, but this is you. You're Isaiah 45. Thus says the Lord to Cyrus, whom I've anointed. Even though he doesn't know me, the Spirit of God is on you. And as long as you're true to the assignment and the mission and the calling that is on your life, you cannot be destroyed. All right, well, I'll stop there. There's so much we could do, but I just want you to see this. We got the gates of hell. Now, what God wants to do is it's going to be a battle of gates of heaven against the gates of hell. What happens is God is going to put his people in proximity to the gates. Now, this is where I want to simplify this thing one time, just give you this one picture. I'll come back and work with you because we need to have, what I'm thinking is a 7 mountain. I'm going to probably abbreviate 7 mountains into trademark it to 7M. It's a 7M prayer mobilization network. I think we have to cover all 7 mountains in prayer so that we could start to create the environment where we can identify who is God raising up to go to the gates of influence. Does that make sense? Your sons and daughters are the future occupiers of those gates. Let them know this is the blueprint. This is the battle map. It's a clear template. You call the media, you're going to have to go up against the gates of hell in media. And they will try to, like I told you last night, if the devil can't persecute you, he'll try to tempt you into compromise, because whatever you bow to on the way up will control you when you get to the top. So here's the deal. The apostolic church. The other thing that the left is crazy about is this apostolic. They're all over the NRA, I think they're called the NRA, the new, I don't know, they're making up something. The new apostolic, NAR, New Apostolic Reformation. It's something my former professor friend of mine, Peter Wagner, called it. It doesn't even exist. It's obsessing everybody on the left right now. All the journalists on the left that are targeting us and watching us, the New Apostolic Reformation, they're all part of this great conspiracy. They're going to take over everything on the 7 mountains. You better watch out. They're like prophesying our future. It's weird. And I'm sending back messages. I'm saying there is no organization. We're all independent. There's no secret handshake, no Illuminati on our side. That's what you guys do. We have a hard enough time trying to get people to show up at the same church meeting. Oh, no, you're saying that now, but you're changing your tactics all the time, Lance. You're the architect of that secret movement. So it's like,
Hey there, you just listened to an excerpt. That's a little bit of the podcast. So if you want to get the whole thing, because there's a lot more content there, go to lancewallnut.com/podcast. And instead of getting an excerpt, you get the entire message.
Everybody is concerned about what's happening to the economy. I mean, it wouldn't be too far conjecture to say that it's almost as though America is experiencing a recession that looks like it could be heading into a depression. And I'm praying that Donald Trump's prophecy that you'll see a depression the likes of which you've never seen never happens. But you know, the guy was uncannily accurate in so many things he said. That's why I'm telling my friends to go to Birch Gold right now, lancewallnut.com/Birch. Get the 25-page report on how you can protect your wealth, protect your investments, protect your IRA, protect your retirement. The report that they give you is an explanation as to how commodities and gold and silver variously work during periods of time when the dollar is unstable. I'm telling you, you need to get the education. Knowledge is power.